Yeah, so like you said, I'm a broker, so landlords, developers, people looking to do flips, buy-to-let, holiday lets, helping small business owners, that's what we specialise in.
Okay, hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I have a special guest, and the guest is Michael. He is a broker and especially he's focusing on investment properties. So more he will tell us about himself. So hi Michael.
Hi, Vincent, how you doing?
Good. Thank you very much for coming.
No worries at all.
Nice that you took the time and we could meet in here in this lovely office of yours.
Quite nice.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, can you tell us what is it you do and how long you are doing it?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm a broker, so we specialise in kind of all things finance really, so helping small business owners with various pieces of finance, but our kind of bread and butter and what we really do focus on is property investment, so landlords, developers, people looking to do flips, buy-to-let, holiday lets, anything that involves an element of property investment. That's what we specialise in. So we've been doing that a couple of years now. Came out of university during the pandemic, so the job market wasn't exactly great, and this opportunity just kind of came across, and kind of thought to myself, I'll be responsible for my own success, which was something that did appeal to me. I thought to myself, I was in my early 20s and thought if I don't do it now, I'll maybe never do it, and I've never really looked back. So it's something that I've enjoyed doing since I started, and I've got a bank of excellent clients that have served me well, and kind of love working with them. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Okay,
good. We'll go a little bit deeper than the nutshell. Okay, so I've been very often asked, like, if people can get the investment buy-to-let mortgage if they don't own the house, what will be the common answer? Yeah,
so you're talking sort of first-time buyer, first-time landlord, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so the answer is that it can be done, but the reason that it can be quite limited is just because in the eyes of a lender, they'll probably see that as quite high risk, because I've not got any experience of owning any property, whether it be residential or investment. So, there'll be lenders that will take that on. Are you going to get access to the best rates on the market? The answer is going to be no. It'll probably be like a second tier, third tier lender, something like that. But for a lot of people, that are really investment oriented, they'll kind of just maybe put up in a way with the sort of hedge rates to get that foot in the door, build up a bit of sort of landlord experience, and then the lending options kind of go from this to this, and then let's say they've kind of got the experience behind them to go and sort of buy more property, do further investments, stuff like that. So the answer is it can be done, and it just it's down to sort of individual preferences whether or not you want to go ahead and do it at the hedge rates, because sometimes it's not financially efficient really. Cash flow might not be great, stuff like that, but in the same breath there are lenders that will take it on. It just depends on whether the individual's looking to kind of go ahead with it or not really.
Okay, and so what is it like when I would come to you and I'll say, like, I would like to get the buy-to-let mortgage, what is it the lender is checking on me or on the property, like how does it work?
So I kind of like to say to my clients, there's almost kind of three pillars really: the person, the property, and the situation. So the sort of stuff I look for in the person, sort of clean credit, have they got any experience, do they own any property, what's their kind of levels of exposure in the background in terms of a buy-to-let portfolio, stuff like that. So all that sort of stuff is to do with the person. When it comes to the property, of course they'll look at value, stuff like that, what you're looking to borrow. So if you're looking to borrow 100% of the purchase price, the chances are they'll probably say no. So stuff like that, sort of value, loan to value, what rental you're going to achieve, all these sorts of things. Not only that, they'll look at the property itself as an asset, so where's it located, is it standard construction, is it above a commercial premises, is it ex-local authority, things like this that can all kind of influence a lender's decision based on what their individual criteria is. And then obviously the situation as well, so how are you going to let the property? Is it just going to be a standard rental? Is it going to be like a holiday let? Is it going to be let via the council? Stuff like that. So all these kind of circumstances kind of compile together to make up your case, and that's kind of what we'll take to the lender and obviously find our clients the most financially efficient solution for them.
Okay, I see. So what is the difference if people should approach you rather than just go to their bank? Because I know a lot of people, they just go to their bank, they just log in, and there's like, this section like mortgages, and they just check what they can get and what they cannot get. So what is the difference to going to the broker?
Yeah, so a lot of people that come to us, they say, I checked Halifax or Nationwide or people like that, sort of really high street lenders, and they say, it's really hard to get a buy-to-let mortgage with them, and the reason for that is they'll have a buy-to-let criteria, but that's not really their space in the market. They're massive residential lenders. They're not, massive players in the buy-to-let market. Whereas, if you've got people like Aldermore or Precise, Shawbrook, Gleninvest, Mortgage Works, Mortgage Lender, all these sorts of people, they're sort of real buy-to-let lenders. Particularly with sort of limited companies and stuff like that. So that's one thing that we've seen a lot of when people have said, I approached Halifax, I've got my residential mortgage with them, asked them about getting a buy-to-let, and my criteria was far too stringent and I can't get a buy-to-let. When the reality is we've got a lot of experience in dealing with the main buy-to-let players in the market, and their criteria is not stringent essentially. So it means that depending on how their case is made up with those kind of 3 pillars, we'll be more than happy to get them a financial solution. And particularly for first-time landlords and stuff as well, it can be quite a big learning curve. So speaking to someone that deals with it day to day, they've got a bit of experience, a bit of knowledge in the market and the processes in terms of getting lending, it can be massively beneficial. So that's where we always like to step in and help people. And like I say, particularly for first-time landlords, that it's sometimes can be totally alien to people. They're not too sure how it works, and obviously we'll work as closely as possible with them to make sure they understand everything.
Okay, cool. And you also mentioned the limited company. So is there a difference if people buy to let their first buy to let house through the limited company or under their personal name?
Yeah, there is sort of some differences. So if you buy in your personal name, typically the rates will be a little bit lower. Nothing drastic. It's not going to be double the rate for limited company or triple the rate or stuff like that. But the rates will be a little lower with personal name. However, the majority of our clients do go for a limited company for the sort of tax benefits. Now, we'll always say to our clients, although we've got a good understanding of tax and things like that, how it works, we're not tax advisors, we're not sort of authorised to give tax advice, but that's where we can reach out into our network and we pass our clients on to our sort of service partners, if you like, that they are tax specialists, and they sort of give the expert advice that they'll need to make an informed decision on what they want to do. But in our experience, like I say, the vast majority of our clients do go down the limited company route for those tax benefits, and like I say, we work closely with the people in our network to make sure they get the proper advice so that they can make an informed decision.
Okay, good. And if, for example, somebody will come, they will want to buy to a mortgage, how long it can take in order to buy a property? What will be the...
Yeah, I mean, lenders at the minute, their service levels are a bit of a nightmare. Just with the Bank of England base rate going up, I think quite a lot of people are kind of aware of that and they want to get themselves locked in. Maybe, I don't know if it's concerns over interest rates rising. And in 2017 there was a lot of 5-year fixes in the buy-to-let market written. So a lot of them are maturing this year, so I don't know if that's coming into play as well. But lenders at the minute, their service levels aren't as good as what they were maybe 6 months ago. So, if you're talking sort of good service levels like 6, 8, 12 months ago, you might be looking at, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. But whereas now I had one that started in sort of May, June time, and it's just coming up for completion now, so that's been pushing kind of 3 months, which is about 12 weeks. So I mean, it can totally depend. Some service levels are better than others. Some really focus on that, whereas other lenders, they're just kind of maybe struggling to deal with the influx of business that's come their way. But yeah, at the minute it's not what it was 6 to 8 months ago in terms of service levels. But we'll always make our clients aware of that as well. At the outset, if the lender A is going to be the most financially viable, they might not have the best service level, so we'll try and make them aware of that at the outset, just so they're kind of prepared to maybe wait a little bit longer, just with the way things are at the moment, the sort of climate that we're in.
And is there anything in your power what you can do to, do you call the lenders or just try and come on, this is the case, we need to get it done over the line?
No, we'll certainly do our best to do that. I mean, we'll typically dedicate a day of the week, sometimes a Friday, just to get the end of the week done and dusted. We're chasing things up before the weekend. But yeah, we'll chase the lenders at every hurdle really. So whether we're waiting on evaluation being done, whether we're waiting on the offer being issued, whether it's going down to sort of conveyancing process, we'll try and push them on as much as possible. And we've found that to be quite beneficial with some lenders in particular, whereas sometimes we're kind of at the mercy of the lender really. But yeah, we'll definitely do what we can to push it on, because it's in everyone's best interest really, especially the client, so to get it through as soon as possible. So we'll always try and do that, yeah, definitely.
Okay. You also mentioned the interest rates are going up. So what's the average interest rate at the moment? We probably expect? Again,
with the majority of our clients go for limited company stuff. If you're talking a sort of 5-year fixed rate on a buy-to-let via your limited company, you're we look at probably upwards of 4.5%. And let's say the start of the year, most of my business was bridge and finance. I think I did my first buy to let in maybe February, March. And the rate back then, again, 5-year fixed limited company, it was around about 3%, give or take. And now, like I say, for the space of 6-7 months, it's kind of jumped probably over 1.5%. And again, it all depends on the sort of circumstances and stuff surrounding the case. If it's quite a quirky case, maybe above a takeaway, something like that, your rate might go up a little bit, but generally speaking, you'll be looking probably between 4.5-5%, 5-year fixed limited company. A little bit lower, of course, like I say, for personal names, but generally speaking, probably that's a ballpark figure, I would say, yeah.
Also, I had the situation once, we sourced the deal to someone, and the house was ex-council house, and the lender had a big problem with that.
I mean,
would you know why?
Sometimes it's just to do with the sort of tenants it might attract. Obviously, we don't want to speak down on any people or any areas, but some lenders will have an issue with ex-council because they might just think to themselves, what, is that area desirable? Is it not desirable? And if they sort of do their due diligence and think, what, it's an ex-local authority area, it's not that desirable, what sort of quality of tenant will that attract? And if they're going to be causing any issues to the property, that's a lender's security. So that's why they might have a couple of concerns with it. I mean, there's plenty of lenders that are okay with ex-local authority, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's probably the reason why some of them do have a slight issue with it, is probably just thinking in terms of, is the area desirable, what quality of tenant will that attract, and what implications could that have on their security.
Even the same, like you mentioned, like this, if it's above a pub or takeaway, a lot of people think that they cannot get the mortgage at all, so they don't look at those properties. They think it's just the cash. Is there a way to get the finance for that?
Yeah, I mean, again, it all comes down to meeting criteria. But if that's the only sort of piece of criteria that might have an impact on mortgageability, if everything else is fairly vanilla, but it just happens to be above a chip shop or something like that, by all means there'll be lenders that will take that on. A lot of the time it'll be subject to valuer's comments, so valuer will go out, have a look at the property, they'll write up the report and go back to the lender and either confirm that it is suitable or confirm that it's not suitable. But we've done plenty of those cases in the past. Again, if you're talking, if it's something that's got loads of circumstances, so it's maybe really low value, it's ex-council, it's above a chip shop, and there's loads of circumstances surrounding the case that could kind of almost put it at risk, if you like.
Yeah.
Then it might be a different story, but we have done plenty of cases in the past where it's been above a takeaway, above a pub, things like that. So it goes to show that it can be done, yeah, if given the right case.
Also, when let's say people. Let's say there is a property which is like 3-bedroom, but people convert in 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom HMO. Yeah. So what's the valuation afterwards? Like, do they based on a residential, or do they based on a commercial valuation, or something in between?
Yeah. So if you're talking sort of residential, they'll value on the property. It does get slightly different when it goes into commercial, because the quality of tenant you've got in there will kind of have an impact. So if you take, a Tesco Express is going to be a sort of more high worth client than, like a local independent business. It's a kind of one-man band, because obviously Tesco's this massive, almost institutional, retail shop. So a tenant like that in a commercial space is going to be a bit more lucrative, and it's going to be worth more. Whereas on the residential side, they'll look at the property itself. They'll think, right, what are the comparables like in the area? What's a property of a similar size, similar age, stuff like that? What has that sold for in the last maybe 6 months or a year? So that's kind of what value will look at. They'll really will look at comparables in the area, what they've sold for, and kind of make an informed decision from there.
And would you know how it's with, for example, service accommodation? Because we have a lot of service accommodation, and because obviously it's not the residential, it's a business. Properties are registered under business rates. We run it as a business, so we need to actually show the council how much we are making, so on what kind of business rates we should be paying. So is that will be valued, do you think, differently than residential then?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of service accommodation, the majority of stuff that we do is just kind of holiday lets. And again, they'll pretty much base it on like a valuer's comments. So a valuer will go out and look at the property, again, look at comparables and stuff. So that's the majority of kind of business that we do in terms of like the short-term let market is mainly just holiday lets. So I've got a couple of them on the go at the moment. And again, it comes down to valuer's comments. So, when we're putting in applications and stuff, we'll maybe take a look at the home report, for example, see what the home report says is the market valuation. We'll put that in the application. and then it's down to a valuer kind of confirming that when they go out and do their visit. So that's typically the sort of business that we see in that space.
So it looks like it'll be more like with normal residential valuations, closer.
Let's say in terms of like your holiday let stuff, yeah, a valuer goes out and looks at the property, confirms it's suitable for mortgage purposes, comes back and makes sure that the valuation that we've keyed in is suitable as well, and kind of take it from there.
It's interesting. Like if they would value very similar to residential, either though they want us to be all registered under business because it's a business.
I mean, I suppose it's a bit like someone owning a buy-to-let in a limited company. That's all sort of business. They pay corporation tax in the business, but that asset is kind of measured, as a property. Say looking at comparables and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But there's a difference if somebody pays £1,000 rent, or you get £4,000 rental income from the service accommodation, right? So the value should go up because the property itself is making more money. Like if you have a commercial, let's say I used to have a cafe in Berwick-upon-Tweed, and these premises were sold for 20,000. If the same would be in Edinburgh, it would be 100,000, because I would be making 5 times more in Edinburgh on that street for the same property that I'm making in Berwick. So the valuation would be much higher, and it's the same property. So with the service accommodation, like why that should be any difference? The same property on the same street, but one is making £50,000 a month, a year income from service accommodation, and another one is making 10,000. So I think that should be like valued a little bit with consideration of that also, no?
Yeah, so I mean, even the holiday let cases I've got ongoing at the minute, they still kind of stress it as though it's like a buy-to-let. So in terms of like a mortgage, our lenders kind of stress tests, they'll look at what rental does it need to achieve in order for us to be comfortable that they'll meet the mortgage payment. So like a holiday let, for example, the ones I've got on the go at the minute, they're open to do as a holiday let because it's in an area that suits it, and it's probably a bit more kind of financially beneficial to run it as a short term as opposed to buy to let. But the way that the lender looks at that is they'll think, right, okay, we're happy to do it on a holiday let. If it doesn't work on a holiday let, is there demand for buy to let? And if so, what kind of rental do they need to achieve in order for us to be comfortable with it? So again, the lenders look at it as though, in the background, right, okay, if this doesn't work as a short-term let, can it revert to a buy-to-let? Is there a demand for buy-to-let in the area? And if so, what rental do we need to achieve in order for us to be comfortable with it? So that's typically how they look at it as well, so I understand what you mean. But that's kind of been our experience of it. I say a couple of holiday lets I've got on the go at the minute. I've been speaking with the lenders, and they wanted a sort of confirmation from the local agent that, right, okay, if it's in the rental market, what would it really go for? And then they kind of say, right, if it's, if they need £500 a month, then they think, well, it's only going to rent for £350. If the sort of short-term stuff doesn't work, then they might have a little issue with that, because if the short-term stuff doesn't work, is the client going to meet their mortgage payment because the rent might not be sufficient enough? So that's a lot of time, that's kind of how they look at it.
I'll be looking at those both. Okay, cool. Thanks for the explanation.
No, sorry.
Very good. Also, because you are based in Edinburgh and Scotland, so if somebody would want to reach to you, they want to get the mortgages in England, is it the same, or is it because the solicitors are different? So
I mean the sort of legal processes are slightly different, but obviously that goes down to conveyancing, solicitors and stuff like that. But in terms of lending, we've done plenty of stuff down in England, a couple of bits and pieces in Wales, not quite as much as England. Of course, myself being sort of Edinburgh based, majority of my clients are kind of central belt, borders, stuff like that. But let's say we've still got a lot of clients down in England as well, whether it's buy to let, whether they're looking to do refurbs. We're more than happy to take a look at those inquiries. Let's say at the start of the year, a lot of my stuff was bridging financing, and a number of those were down south, so more than happy to take a look at those. And again, the processes for sort of mortgage applications aren't all that different. Down in England, you've got kind of freehold, leasehold, so that's one of the things you need to kind of clarify at the outset. Whereas up here, it's not really a thing. But other than that, there's not any massive differences. Main difference is when it comes down to the sort of legal side of things, which, like I say, is kind of beyond our protocol, and it goes down to solicitors.
Okay. So there is the big difference in Scotland and England that we have a home report in Scotland, right? So could you maybe explain what is it like a little bit, just because there's a lot of people from England, they don't have home report, they don't know what it is. So
I mean, I think it's if it's on market sale in Scotland, I think there's a requirement for a home report, whereas in England I don't think that's the case. Whereas a home report basically just gives pretty much a survey of the property. So it's an energy performance certificate. It's got all the information on the property, so the bedrooms, the construction type, the area it's in, is it ex-council. Basically, a lot of the time, if it's a Scotland-based client, we'll ask for that because it'll give us a lot of the kind of material facts that we'll need to kind of present to the lender. So, like I say, the stuff to do with the construction type, is it a flat, is it a house, is it above a commercial, all these sorts of things. And it basically just provides a massive overview on the property. A lot of the time, it will come with a mortgage valuation report as well. When we're taking it to a lender, they want their own independent valuation done a lot of the time. But the sort of mortgage valuation part can be quite useful as well because it lets us kind of know what they think the market value is, the reinstatement costs for insurance purposes, all these sorts of things as well. So it can be really, really useful. I know in England, some clients will get a survey done on the property to make sure they're comfortable with all those facts before going ahead and making a purchase. But I think it's a little bit more common in Scotland because when it's an on-market sale, it's pretty much a requirement.
Yeah. So with that in mind, so let's say the home report, let's say the property is valued to 100,000, this is the home report, and a lot of properties are selling above home report. People are saying like in Edinburgh you can expect 10% above and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and people knows that, the sellers, so this is what they expect. And after you come and you give them this 110, you make an offer 110 and they accept and it's all good. But will the lender will give us 110,000 if the home report is just 100?
So a lot of time lenders will go the lower of the value or the purchase price. So they'll pretty much need to make up a shortfall of, if they're buying it for, if it's 75% loan to value, the value is £100,000.
Yeah.
They'll get £75,000 in terms of a mortgage. So that £10,000 deficit's kind of got to be made up in some way or other.
So usually they just let's say £100,000 house, they put £25,000 for deposit, but they need to take another 10 cash from their savings to put them on a side.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because the lender wouldn't give it to them.
Yeah, because lender does it sort of loan to value, loan to purchase price, if that makes sense. Whereas if people are doing it sort of slightly, people are getting like a below home report purchase, sometimes they'll go, because the purchase price is a bit lower, they'll base it off of that. So generally speaking, it's normally the lower of the value of the purchase price. That's the kind of lender look at it,
Okay, good. So so thank you very much for sharing all those information.
No worries.
And I have a last question for you. What are your plans? Because you are young, you are 23. So what are your plans in the property world?
No, I'm getting old, feel it anyway. But hopefully the next 18 months, couple of years, looking at my places, looking to get invested in. Obviously I've been doing this a couple of years now and I came into it with no kind of preconceptions, just went sort of full throttle into the investment space. So it's a quick learning process, but dealing with it every day, it kind of just opened my eyes up to kind of what's possible out there in property. So obviously I've not got all the fine details ironed out yet, but definitely to build a portfolio, whether it's going to be sort of adding value and taking some money out, we do a lot of that for clients, and some clients are really successful at it, or whether it's going to be buying sort of turnkey buy-to-let properties, I'm not too sure yet, but definitely, hopefully 18 months, couple of years, definitely be buying up some places and taking it from there.
Okay, perfect. So I'll be expecting you in £18 on my course then.
We'll see.
If I'll be doing. Perfect. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cheers. So that was Michael, and if you would like to reach to him, I'll put in the description all the things from him, how you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, how you can find his company, his phone number, anything you need, because you do like a free advice for over the phone?
Yeah, free, no obligation, free chat.
When it's free, it's good, right? Free advice with Michael, so get in touch with him. Cheers.
Perfect.